Welcome to the New York Times. On today's episode, we've got a guest in studio. NATAN BADALOV is here.
What up?
He's he's an immigrant. Are you
still
an immigrant?
here?
Were you originally
Yeah, I'm an immigrant.
born here?
No.
Oh, look at that. We got an immigrant on the show, baby.
Right, man.
We
Token.
call that credence. We're going to be talking about Israel and Iran. The escalation has been happening over the weekend. More people have died. There are a bunch of fun developments, and you're going to hear them all on today's episode of the New York Times. One day I will buy. One day someone will actually make the
intro music.
an actual intro. I have no musical bone in my body. Nathan, do you ever play any instruments?
I play guitar.
You play guitar?
I saw your guitar over here. Is that your guitar?
Yes. There is a guitar that is behind the camera. This guitar, my grandmother one time gave me out of nowhere $800 in Guitar Center money.
Center money?
Did I play an instrument? No.
Yeah.
Did I ever mention to her that I was interested? No, not at all. So I just went there and I was like, what do I do with $800? So I just bought like the shiniest thing that I could possibly buy, which is like a Zach Wilde guitar.
That's a very nice guitar.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really has only played a couple of AC/DC riffs on it when I was a kid, and then immediately became a conversation piece that we keep like stapled to the stairway hall area.
So you don't use this to like, well, I mean, you're with a person now, but you didn't use this to like try to get women?
No, not at all. If anything, I was always afraid that if a woman was to look at it, they would expect that I would have to play something for them. So anytime I brought anyone home, I'm like, please don't look at the guitar on the wall. Please don't look at the guitar on the wall.
It's pretty hard because then you got to walk through to the staircase.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, oh, you play guitar? Yeah. Let's get the fuck out of here.
No. Later. I tell them later. And then I hustle them upset. Let me get a little bit just a bio background for you.
Yeah.
Where are you from? And where's your family from and all that stuff?
Born in Uzbekistan.
Okay.
Bukharian Jew.
Oh my God! That Bukharian Jews, by the way, for everyone that's unfamiliar,
Yeah.
Bukharian Jews are a kind of Jew that likes big silver fences outside of their queens' homes.
Gold
Fences.
Whatever, the shinier the better.
Oh yeah, big shiny fence. Where's that come from? This is an actual thing. If you go to Queens to the Bukharian neighborhoods, all of the
Forest
houses,
Hills,
yeah,
Rego Park,
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
Yeah.
Generational trauma, probably.
That's right.
It's always like that. If you just come from some kind of like, poverty or something, you want to show it off first when you actually have some money.
So that makes sense. It's like it really is the first thing you see when you go to someone's house. Is you see like their big silver gold. They're gold. I thought they were always silver fences out in Queens. My grandmother used to live in Rego Park, and then also it was Kew Garden Hills after that.
And then Jamaica Estates.
Oh,
Jamaica Estates are the uppity Bukharians.
Yeah.
Rego Park are the middle class, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The upscale, like the rich Bukharian Jews, they go to Jamaica Estates. Interesting. That I didn't know. I don't know if I've ever been to Jamaica Estates. You know what's so funny? My grandmother, before she had died, her apartment was like blocks away from Forest Hills Stadium, and I always thought it was so funny that at any given moment, my grandmother and the Foo Fighters were within a 3-block radius of each other.
That place is that stadium is very hated right now in that area.
Yeah, they fucking dropped.
The noise.
How
the noise.
Did they not think that the noise complaints were going to be a thing? They dropped a full-on outdoor loud performance space into the most stubborn group of it's all. What's great about Queens is that it is the melting pot of stubborn cultures. They dropped that thing. It's in the middle of like a Polish, Czechoslovakian, Haitian, Asian communities are just like, we don't give a shit about the Migos.
Yeah, it's everybody from out of town just coming in.
Yeah.
And in that, where the stadium is, you've been there before.
Yeah.
Right? You have to walk through this pretty wealthy area.
Yes, yeah.
And that place is so wealthy, and they hate people coming into that area so much. I don't know if you noticed this. They don't have park benches. They don't have trash cans. They don't want anybody to be
so
there.
Interesting.
So they don't want people to sit down. Like you there's no resting area in that place.
Did like the people building the stadium, did they know where they were building this?
I don't think they gave a shit.
It really makes no sense. Out of all of the stadiums and all of like the performance venues, outdoor performance venues in New York, it is the most just fucking there. It's kind of like Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium is just plopped in the middle of the Bronx.
Those are the only time like white people come into that area.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. My mother grew up literally she behind Yankee Stadium. Her apartment building used to overlook where the old Yankee Stadium was.
Yeah.
So she was there through like Yankee, uptown, huge, crazy Yankee, dynasty teams and stuff like that. Didn't give a shit about any of this stuff. Completely wasted, hates baseball, doesn't care at all. She said that one time the Yankees had a big win in September, and it was around the time that Simchat Torah was happening or something, or like Rosh Hashanah. So there were people in the streets, and the Yankee fans poured into the streets to celebrate the Yankee win, and the Jews were out there celebrating like whatever holiday, and then they were dancing with each other for a couple minutes, and then we're like, wait a second, we don't. Why is everyone here in Yankee gear? And then the Yankee guys were like, why are all these dudes in beards and top hats?
They're all fucking celebrating at the same time.
So they start making out, right? It's like it's really hot. Nice. And when they talk about the Bronx burning, that was the incendiary event. All the Hasidim and then the
values. Yeah, that's great, man.
That's Intervale Avenue. It used to be the 40/40 Club. It was.
That's where the shit was going down.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's great, man. Yeah. Your grandma seems like she lived a life.
Oh,
This is the same grandma you're talking about that was in Forest Hills, and then it's the same grandma.
After the Holocaust, which is a war we made up. No, after the Holocaust.
This is Jewish propaganda. This right
this now. What I do actually is we go through all of the lies that are told and we validate each and every single one of them.
This is Mossad.
And the biggest one is that the Holocaust was made up. It was actually made up by Steven Spielberg
to make the movie 40, 50 years later.
It is. Yeah. You got to plant the seeds in Israel through the JNF.
Exactly.
No, my grandmother got out of the Holocaust and then she moved to Queens, and she was she modeled for coats for like a minute. Oh, shit. She then was a seamstress for a while, and then started doing real estate stuff. She was out there in Queens. What were your parents?
My grandparents, after Uzbekistan, they moved to Israel.
Oh, yeah. So you got family in Israel right now. We're talking about this. That's a good look at that.
Good segue.
That was an incredible segue.
I was gonna say that like our grandparents have probably lived lives, and they just don't have any opinion over. Like if you ask them about this shit, you'll be like, "Oh my God, you lived such a life." And they'll be like, "Yeah, this is what you do."
Yeah.
If they lived during this period, they would be like, "Oh, let me do a solo show."
Yeah.
I can't imagine like grandparents seeing their grandkids writing solo shows, and they're going like, "This is what you're fucking complaining about."
You're gonna talk on stage for 90 minutes about social anxiety.
Yeah.
I saw my brother get shot in a potato pit in Vishnitz. What are you talking about here?
Yeah.
It really is the soy boyification of it all.
That's true.
And I think that there is an element where, and this is actually a pretty valid conversation to have about how for a while you had the Holocaust survivors came to America, right? They built up a lot of walls around ourselves. They built up financial walls. They built up literal property walls and stuff like that to make sure that like it would never happen again. And through that, obviously there was like a lot of upward mobility. The upward mobility equals the soy boyification of the Jewish community. And it did feel like for a while, whenever anti-Semitism or whenever, uncomfortability around how Jews were treated was brought up, very validly, it was like, all right, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's a big deal, but like it's not like that big of a deal. Over the past couple of years, now this is not Holocaust bad, but it has toughened up people in a little bit of a way, and it has been like, like there is an actual reason why this stuff does need to get fought, which is something that hasn't happened for like a pretty long time. It did feel like in the 90s and early 2000s, if you were talking about like anti-Semitism, was a little bit like, we get it. Like Jonathan Greenblatt, ADL trying to raise money. It was so let's raise money for it without ever like questioning where the money was going, just to kind of like say I donated to the thing.
Right.
Now it feels like very, very valid.
Yeah. I mean, it was like assimilation was more or less, it was happening. And then I remember Jerry Seinfeld talking about it, where he was like, we felt like in the 90s, like, when the show was coming out, they're like, this is part of modern culture. It's not Jewish culture. And then, whatever, as it's all happening now.
But he also said that while porking a 17-year-old girl, you know.
Yeah,
so we
that's
all
true,
think
yeah.
we all think we're theoretical physicists. Oh my
yeah,
God.
I mean, now, you know what's funny is that now so many people hate Jerry Seinfeld because of his pro-Israel stance, but now they mention the 17-year-old.
Yeah, yeah.
They could have mentioned it the whole time. They're like, yeah, he Palestine. By the way.
Oh, also on top of that,
you didn't say that while you were watching the show.
No, not at all.
You
No
were
one brought it up.
You were enjoying the product,
Yeah.
but you weren't. Yeah.
Listen, they want a free Palestine, but they also want a free Thursday night lineup on NBC, baby.
Yeah.
They want that content to be hitting and hitting and hitting.
Exactly.
He was 33, 35 when he was dating that 17-year-old, right?
Yeah.
What do you talk to him about?
Honestly, because he's a comedian, I think he has a lot to talk about. Because comedians, sometimes they have an immature mind. So I'm not justifying what he did. But
no. Speak off, King. Speak off.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know why. Maybe this is fucked up to say, but I kind of understand. Because we talk to comedians all the time, and they're like, whatever happens, you know, like Jerry always talks about how trauma and stuff like that doesn't affect him and stuff, but he dated a 17-year-old.
Yeah, it affected him.
Of course it affected him.
You don't, if you're in your 30s and you're dating someone who's 17, you have no ability to say, like, I don't have issues with my mom.
Right.
Like, you got them. I don't have daddy issues. I just only date teenagers.
Right.
I think there is also, like, an element to where very few comedians are actually, like, deep.
Yes.
But we all appear very philosophical and very. So if you're a 17-year-old, you know, you're like, holy shit, I'm talking to Socrates here. He just asked, what's the deal with airplane food?
This man is my God. Yes.
I've never heard someone wax poetic about Foot Locker like this before. He
Yes.
must be, you know. So I do think that there is that thing where, like, most comedians could easily pick up a 17-year-old. That's ultimately what I am saying.
You're talking about improv. That's what
God.
that shit was happening.
Yeah, like we were saying before, we tried recording before and stopped immediately. But
but it is
I will
true.
say,
I've heard this from other people in improv teams, and I'm like, this is fucking weird that you're saying this.
The best way to be a 35-year-old person dating a 22-year-old person in the 2015 to, actually, I would say the 2013 to 2023 range was to be a very successful improv teacher who had a couple of under fives. But really, under 5 lines in a TV show.
Okay.
It's a quick cameo spot. They call it under 5s.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have only, and then nothing else. And then you ride off. You did one episode of Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just sending that clip around to every casting director, you know, in America.
But that was a reference. You ever see Mike Birbiglia's Don't Think Twice?
Yes. Oh, exactly.
So remember when his character, he was dating young women.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I remember. There were men that were telling me, they were like, oh, improv's great. I go, what's great about it? It's like, bro, you can fuck all the women. And I'm like, I don't think that's the intention of it. It's called improv.
No, it's yes, and they have to go with it.
This is really predatory what you're doing. But he's like, yeah, I know. And I go, I'm not talking to you anymore. This is fucking weird, man.
It's also funny because we just announced a partnership with like a theater in Pittsburgh. And that literally was the ending too. The Don't Think Twice movie was that the guy was like, "Oh man, I've decided to fuck someone my own age. I'm gonna move out to Syosset and start an improv there."
He thinks that the mature, that's the mature. I need to outgrow my predatory. Like this is an accomplishment of some sort. It's like you were supposed. This is what normal people do. You think this is an accomplishment to not fuck young women?
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start paying my taxes.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Let us go into some news. No. Totally. This is the New York Times. We schmooze here. Here's a bunch of just rapid fire stuff that has been happening. I will say that this story, just like the beginning of COVID, every hour there is new news here. U.S. has likely joined the fight. We are still against Iran. It's a little bit conflicting. A lot of people are saying that we're on the process of getting into it. A lot of people are saying that we're already bombing sites actively there. Obviously, nothing's boots on the ground, but we're already potentially offering refueling help and all that stuff. So U.S. has officially, though, likely joined, and that will be answered very soon. The new conversation is about bunker buster bombs. Let us talk about bunker buster bombs. Israel, the two missions of this recent joyride through Tehran has been to take out their nuclear capacities and then take out the Islamic regime, and also to keep Bibi in power. It's the three.
Always the three.
You got it. That's my dream blunt rotation is taking out the nuclear facilities, keeping Bibi in office, and then getting rid of the Ayatollah.
Yeah.
The two big nuclear facilities that are getting talked about are the nuclear facility Natanz, which apparently Israel has destroyed all of the above ground stuff. And granted, I am not a nuclear physicist, shockingly enough. That's to do with enrichment, where they have crippled or they have severely damaged the ability to do some enrichment in Natanz. The next question is this nuclear facility on the side of a mountain, literally the plot of Top Gun 2.
Yeah, I did.
Side of a mountain, Fordo. Israel currently cannot exactly go in there and take it out, but with these bunker buster missiles that America has that apparently they haven't given to Israel yet, they could take it out. There's a question. The reason why that hasn't come to fruition yet is because Trump is trying to get a deal out of this, and we will go into a little bit of that because it has to tie in with his obsession with getting a Nobel Peace Prize, which is just fucking psychotic. Trump has also gone on the record and says that Israel has complete control of the skies over Iran. Just some statistics: at least 2,725 people in Israel have been evacuated since the latest conflict has begun. As part of the death toll in Israel remains at 24 people have passed away. 647 people are injured. At least 10 are in serious condition. In Iran, at least 224 people have been killed, though I want to point out, not that obviously innocent people are dying, innocent people should not be dying, but this number, I question how much of that is just the surreal amount of military leaders that Israel has taken out during this. I still assume that the civilian casualty is going to be absolutely, insane when this is all said and done. A couple other things. Israel continues striking targets today. It's the fifth day of their attack on the regime and the nuclear weapons. Donald Trump signed an international resolution in support of de-escalation after initially indicating that he may not want to do that. He then also has been tweeting, and this is what we're going to get into. He tweeted, Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame. What a waste of human life. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And then right before we got on the air today, he said, quote, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out. Parentheses, kill, exclamation mark. At least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter."
That last sentence.
Why
did you even say that?
Do you think this is an email? It's this is talking about there was some reporting that came out that Bibi had suggested taking out the Ayatollah. Trump did not give him permission to take out the Ayatollah, so that is why the Ayatollah is still alive. Okay, so
I don't even know why he told us that.
This
he
is
didn't
the thing.
Have to tell us any of this. This is what
showboating.
The tweet before.
Yeah.
He put deal in quotes.
Yeah, deal. I should have signed the deal. Well, this is how you know, by the way, that Trump is not. You know that Trump is sending these tweets.
Yeah.
Trump is the only politician in the history of the world that does not have anyone checking any of his tweets at all. No. None of this went through any fact check. Actually, the only thing is I think he does use Grammarly, because I do think I think that it's always punctuationed really well.
Yeah, because he is doing all caps on certain things.
Yes.
And not all caps on some things.
Yeah, but it's like good use of hyphens, good use of parentheses. The comma is after the exclamation mark and parentheses in the word kill. Yeah. But he really is like sending this, and he does seem a little bit butthurt about Iran not taking the nuclear deal. And this is what I wanted to kind of bring you on today specifically for, because I do think that you have probably a very fun perspective on this. But the question is, why has Trump not given Israel just an all-out ability to just finish Iran? Like, why does Trump not care about just ending Iran and giving Israel an ability to end Iran? The reason why a lot of people are saying is because he is obsessed obsessed with winning a Nobel Peace Prize. And I want to jump back to an article that the New York Times wrote on March 24th, and they said, quote, this was the article. This was, I forgot who actually got the quote for this, but they will never give, this is Trump actually, sorry. Trump said this, quote, they will never give me a Nobel Peace Prize. Trump said last month during a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu in the Oval Office, it's too bad. I deserve it, but they will never give it to me. For nearly a decade, Mr. Trump has publicly and privately complained that he has yet to win the prestigious prize. He has mentioned the award dozens of times in interviews, speeches, and campaign rallies dating back to his first term. And as he presses for ceasefire deals in Ukraine and the Middle East, current and former advisors say the award is looming large in his mind. In many ways, Mr. Trump's public jockeying for the prize reflects his focus on accolades, praise, and acceptance, and a burning desire to best his predecessors. President Barack Obama won the prize less than 9 months after taking office in 2009 for confronting the great climate change challenges, a decision that elicited worldwide controversy. Quote, the center of his public life is greater glory for Donald Trump, and the Nobel Peace Prize would be a nice thing to hang on the wall, said John Bolton, Mr. Trump's former national security advisor. He's, quote, he saw that Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize and felt if Obama got it for not doing anything, why should he not get it? Mr. Bolton said to Mr. Trump. So it's very possible that this war is just continuing on because Trump is trying to figure out a way to get a Nobel Peace Prize. Knowing everything you know about Trump, knowing everything you've heard, you've read this, you've seen how he's acted before. Is Donald Trump seriously trying to make a run at a Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, why not? It's funny that he wants the prize, but he doesn't want peace. He doesn't care about peace at all. It's just as he would like. Let's say he gets it tomorrow.
This would be like Chickies trying. This would be like if Chick-fil-A was trying to rally for a PETA award.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
We have chicken in our name.
Yeah. He wants the prize. I don't think that's not out of the realm of possibility because every single thing that they told him he can't get. He reminds me of like Kanye, honestly. Because every single thing, and to be fair, it's true. Like we didn't think he was going to be president.
We did not, and then he became president.
And then I remember hearing, like, you know, Stephen A. Smith, when he was on, like, The Daily Show, he was talking about how he wanted to buy the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, years ago.
And he was, like, $0.1 million short or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys embarrassed me, and because of this, I'm going to run for president, and I'm not going to let you forget this.
Yeah.
Just out of this petty revenge and all this stuff. This sounds exactly like him. Kanye, too, where they're like, he's like, I'm going to be the best, biggest musician ever. Nobody believed him, but he still did it. No. So they're both kind of on the same egotistical run.
I mean, it really does also speak to how he has handled so much of how countries are now handling him. Is significantly different than how they were handling him the first term. First term, I think a lot of countries put up like walls or like were hesitant. What?
Yeah, like he's an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they were like, oh, we don't want to give a what. If you hear Bibi in any of the interviews that he does now, Fox and CNN, I watched MSNBC, he did something on ABC yesterday. I would say if it's a 20-minute interview, 7 minutes of those are just him just glugging down Donald Trump. Just like he's the best friend we've ever had, military genius, guy's 8 feet tall. He's got a jump shot like Steph Curry. I let him sleep with my wife once. He said it was the best night that she's ever had. He should be the Pope. Like they really, really go into it. And that is, I remember that when Qatar offered him the plane, people were like, why are we letting Qatar give him a plane? Where's the ethics? We're just going to let Qatar give it. And that's like, no, that's not the right way to handle it. The right way to handle it is just to get him a bigger plane. Right. That is it.
Because when Zelensky tried to be reasonable with him, he was just like yelling at him like he was a little fucking baby. You don't know, it's going to be World War III because of you. And he just had to sit there. And take it. You can't do this with Trump.
No, not at all.
He knows the cards that he has.
And it was interesting at that point, famously, Zelensky like knew that they were about to unleash that attack inside Russia. So the only way that you're really able to kind of like stand up to him is if you have nothing to lose. Like he knew at that point that there was a devastating attack that was going to be. And if anything, there's a worry sometimes with Trump that he's going to go onto Twitter and tell everyone what you're about to do, even if you're an ally.
Right.
Like there have been a couple of times, and now there's some backpedaling about like, well, maybe he was involved with Israel on a misinformation campaign, trying to, divert people from, so he was going to make it seem like he's angry, and then later on he's going to take it back and stuff like that. Like, we don't, it's easy to say in retrospect that there was more, happening there, but there is like it's very possible that he was actually slighted. And it took this, it took Bibi doing something without Trump's, say so, having it succeed, and then being like, you can take credit for it right now if you want to take credit for it. I also saw there was a theory in a WhatsApp group that I don't even think this is accurate, but someone had a theory. Theory in a WhatsApp group. By the way, that's where I get all my news. Theories in WhatsApp group about how the idea was for Israel to take out all of the air defenses and stuff like that, and then let Trump get credit for taking out the nuclear bombs itself. So they've done all they could, and they've opened up the runway for just like a B-12 or whatever to drop a bomb in there.
That doesn't sound wrong.
It could easily be.
It doesn't sound wrong at all. I remember I was talking to my mom about this, where she was like, "Yeah, they're all he's taking credit, and Israelis are just like, yeah, just give it to him."
Totally.
This is all about, I mean, for him, it's all about his ego, and he wants to apparently win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And if this is what it takes, then give it to him. What is it? In the long run, you'd be like, whatever, man.
It would be stupid not to give it to him. Who cares?
Yeah, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, credit. It just matters what happens. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen after this. Maybe he'll just keep getting credit. Hopefully he will. I don't know.
I still, part of me still thinks that he is in the last final moments. I think that he's looking at everyone. Yesterday, Israel took out another the guy who replaced, I think, Salami last week. They took him out.
The scientist or something.
The scientists are all dead. Yeah. If you have a nuclear physics degree in Tehran, you've unfortunately has passed away over the past. Yeah. By the way, America's got a big job crisis right here. We got to start sending people. If you're looking for a job, nuclear physics in Tehran. You got to be the Lord of War. You got to seek it out.
There are a bunch of Middle Eastern countries that are really fucked up right now, and that means it's a big opportunity for jobs.
Yo, totally.
Syria, Syria.
Imagine teach for America in Syria right now.
Syria.
Oh my God! If you work in tech sales and you can't get a job in Silicon Valley, consider going over to Beirut. I think you could easily get it.
Yeah, it'd be great. That they need a lot.
You know what they need? They need emotionless HR from America to go over there and just fire people and stuff like that. Right. Thank you for meeting, with me. Mohammed, thank you for meeting with me. Unfortunately, we've deleted your the team. It has nothing to do with you. Do you have any questions? And he's just sobbing, and they're like, hey, we're gonna let Stacy take care of your offboarding. Mohammed, once again, thank you so much.
Fuck off.
Yeah. All right, next person.
Yeah.
Again, Mohammed, and then it's
same conversation.
Yeah, they need corporate bureaucracy out there, and I the way that I see, I still think that that Trump is holding out last minute hope that the Ayatollah comes back to the negotiating table.
Yeah.
What could possibly happen, and what could possibly be the way to soften up the the whole landscape over there is if they're the Ayatollah stays in power, but you guys don't have nukes. That's where potentially I do see this landing, because I don't know if you know this, but America, their history of propping up dictators in Iran hasn't really worked out, in the past. The Shah was a huge failure. We propped him up and everyone hated him. Yeah. He was one of the most unliked people. He was the Matt Rife of just lavish. Just a lavish fuck boy who sold out venues. That was the Shah, essentially. Right. I don't know if America's in the mood for installing a new regime. I don't know if we can at this point.
I think Trump will probably just want someone that'll suck him off. So if this guy will, then maybe he'll just keep him there, like you said.
You know what we got to do?
Suck him off.
Suck him off.
Suck him off. No, you might be right. But did they?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, because Instagram, you don't know what's true and what's not. Are they still in Iran, or did they fly out?
The Ayatollah? I had seen.
I saw a plane and they said they're flying out.
Yeah, there are opposition forces in Iran had put out on WhatsApp a bunch of videos from airports. It is unclear if this is accurate.
Well, they did this on purpose, probably, to make sure.
And no one knows, though. Okay. It's like the families and the high-ranking people had kind of gotten out there. We talked about this on the podcast a couple days ago, but they all go to Russia. That's Assad went to Russia. Yeah. Before that, there were other dictators that went to Russia. Russia, it's kind of funny that there is just like a condo building in Russia with all these dictators just trying to make it through. And the CBS needs to do a sitcom. CBS has to do. Yeah. Like, I used to be the head of Hezbollah, and I used to be in charge of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, and now we run a Starbucks in Minsk, and we'll never get along.
You know that Putin, like, they don't even know if when they see him, like, on the thing, they don't even know if that's him, or there's a debate over whether or not that's a hologram.
Of Putin.
Because they don't know where he is. Because all of Russia hates him. Not all, but a lot of people hate him in Russia because of what he did.
And he's very, like, doesn't hold, like, meet and greets. Nope. Like, he's one of the most secluded off. He has, like, a very, very tiny, small, tight circle that he goes with him. I wouldn't be surprised if we haven't seen him in the flesh in a very, very, very long time. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just, like, where Tupac is right now. Just in an island on Barbados.
Yeah, I remember talking to my family about this, where they were like, how there's like this whole thing here. I mean, not saying, I'm not diminishing it, and I do believe it's true. It's like paid protests and stuff like that. Yeah. There, what they do with Putin, he pays people to go to his like
events. Totally.
And apparently they paid them in like food.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
To go to like this stadium of like Russian. I forgot what day it was. I think it was a day for veterans or something like that. I might be misremembering it, but I just thought it was so funny. Like, that's all you need to. That shows how shit the fucking country is. You just need to give them food. Well, they're not even up to money.
All right, hear me out. I mean? Hear me out.
What?
All right, let's say, pick a politician that you hate.
That I hate. I don't know. I don't like any of them.
Yeah, they all kind of suck. Imagine Ron DeSantis.
Ayatollah.
The Ayatollah. Okay. Oh, that's actually good. Okay. Yeah, let's say the Ayatollah. DeSantis. You live in Brooklyn, right?
Say DeSantis.
Yeah. Imagine DeSantis. Imagine the Ayatollah. Imagine. By the way, DeSantis would be the next in line. I think after the Ayatollah Khomeini dies, it's going to be Ayatollah Jared Kushner. That's going to be coming in there and setting up the regime.
That would be funny if a white guy just became.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah. It's one of those. Anyway. That's my favorite type on TikTok, by the way. White guy obsessed with Islam.
Oh my God.
They love it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Ever since post October, I remember seeing. I would say this as a joke that I would see on TikTok book reviews from like non-binary people of the Quran. And I'm not kidding. I actually saw this. They're like, "Oh, this new book." And I'm like, "This book is 3,000 years old. You just found out about it.
Released by
actually read it. See how much you like it after."
They saw the pretty picture in front, and they were like, "Oh, Islamic writing?" Of course, not even knowing it's like Farsi or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's my question, okay? Yeah. Ayatollah Khomeini is giving a speech at Barclays Center.
Okay.
But you get free artichoke pizza from Artichoke, the good kind. You're talking artichoke pizza. We're not talking about the regular slices, although they will have regular slices there. Yeah. You get a regular slice and you get an artichoke slice for free.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is attend.
I'll go. I'll throw the fucking slice at him.
Yeah. Oh, there. Oh no. I'm eating the slice.
Yeah. I'll just fucking. It's good ammo. Just fucking thing.
It'd be funny if everyone that attends these free food meetings in Russia are just Jews.
Oh.
If it's 700 Jews that are.
But now I'm thinking about it. Like, that shows how bad the country is that they actually need the food.
No money.
No one had a thought to throw this fucking. Well, they would probably die. They would probably get shot if they did throw the shit at the person.
I would get caught taking two. I get one for home, and then you throw one.
Yeah.
You throw one, you take one home. These places all suck. The only way that they're able to kind of like gain political rallies and stuff like that. Yeah. The Trump rally this weekend was a disaster also.
Oh yeah.
That was a big ass disaster. And apparently he's like not happy at all with the way that went.
Of course, it's all about his ego.
I went to. This is the only pro-military thing you'll probably ever hear from me. Okay, I went to the Indy 500 a couple of weeks ago. Oh, okay. Right now, the Indy 500 is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was 350,000 people in an oval, and the end of it. So the way that it's a rolling start, so they're rolling and then they start going.
You mean like it just kind of like
how they don't stop and start? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like F1, it's like they're stopped and then they go. Yeah. This one, they're going, and then go. So they're already in motion.
So the engine is...
Yeah. Okay. Engine's already going. They just have to... It's at green light, and then they go faster, basically. The opening... So they do formation laps. They do 3 laps, and they start going full. Okay. The opening of it, they did 2 military flyovers. A bunch of the jets came over top, and then they came over top the other way. And then the last time they were escorted by 2 Black Hawk helicopters that went above the cars and then peeled off. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire goddamn life. If I was president, I'd be doing that 4 times a week. I'd be doing military flyovers. It'd be nonstop military flyovers.
That is pretty cool. Did they do the flips and stuff?
Yeah, they did. Well, they didn't do a flip, but they did a very aggressive pull out of it.
That's well, I was gonna say that's an American thing, but that's not an American thing.
No, this is Chinese.
Yeah, they do that
I get it though. The issue is that we should make it a liberal thing.
A liberal thing.
I think liberals love showmanship.
They would never do that. Here's a waste of what do you call it? They do carbon emissions.
We don't give a shit about carbon emissions.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
but liberals would be
no, the liberals don't give a shit about carbon emissions at all. They don't care about anything. Is what I've decided.
Don't care about anything.
They have no idea. That would involve them reading up more than a page or 2 on a thing.
True. Yeah.
The second that you have Cynthia Erivo sitting in one of those planes, all of a sudden carbon emissions thrown out the wall.
That's true.
What if she's singing "Defying Gravity" in a Black Hawk helicopter?
She'll have the microphone.
Yeah.
That's like Katy Perry going into that. But that was everybody kind of hated that shit.
Well, you got to be tasteful. But if Sabrina Carpenter did the same thing, people would have loved it. If Sabrina Carpenter went to space, I do think that the narrative would have been completely different.
I don't understand what the point of that. But anyway,
we're okay. Anyways, Trump is doing this. Will go on as long as Trump is trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize. Is kind of what I'm thinking. I think that's also why a lot of his tweets are so like, come on, man. Like I right here. Like, just do the deal, goddammit. I've never seen one try harder to work a deal in his entire life. Moving right along. Birthright stuck in Israel. Operation Cruise Ship Exit officially kicked off today. Tuesday morning, young adults on Birthright boarded fleets of buses to a cruise ship headed to Cyprus. This is since the beginning of Israel's war on Iran early Friday, brought all air travel to a halt. Birthright was stuck there. Also, a bunch of comedians, Erin McGuire and Brian Scott McFadden, are currently there.
That's what's up.
And Judy Gold is there.
What's up?
But she's flying an F-35 over Tehran, though. No, she's too tall for one of those planes.
Yeah, that's great. You got the ult. Oh, sorry, you were gonna read more about this.
No. So there's an issue. You had all these Birthright kids that were stuck in Israel. They had no way to get out. So they had apparently worked together with Ron DeSantis. Okay, so there was issues with trying to get them out. So they took 2,800 participants in Israel out of the 20,000 that had been there, and the organization began plotting a daring escape by sea with the help of both Israeli government and Ron DeSantis. On Tuesday, 1,500 Birthright participants set sail for Cyprus. For security reasons, Birthright participants were instructed to keep this voyage a secret by their group leaders. That meant keeping a lid on a surprise rescue operation for not only thousands of young adults, but also their anxious parents, many of whom had turned to Facebook groups to solicit ideas on how to get their children home. The ship transporting participants, the Crown Iris, is a luxury Israeli cruise ship operated by Mano Maritime. The 11-story ship set sail at 2 p.m. from Ashdod, which is where Greta also took off from, and is set to arrive in Larnaca, Cyprus, after a 13-hour voyage. The cruise ship was escorted by the Israeli Navy to ensure its safety. I am dubbing this operation mission Operation Makeout Sesh. Because right now, I don't know if the Crown Iris has ever seen a flood of horny kids.
The trauma bonding that's happening there right now.
Oh my God.
Great.
They all just looked at Israeli soldiers, some of them for their first time, eye to eye. They're now all juiced up, both sides. And now they're going onto a cruise ship for 14 hours. It's chaos.
Why you said there were only 1,500 or 2,000 out of 20,000?
Yeah.
Why those specific?
These were the cowards.
This
is pretty traumatic. Okay, when the war began, Birthright had 2,800 participants. There were 20,000 that were supposed to be there during the course of the summer. So there were 2,800. 1,300 of them, I guess, are still in.
So why did they get picked but not the other get picked?
I think they did it in who has more money.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was. No, this was free. This was. I assume that this had to be free. That'd be so funny if they had to charge from it. You did birthright.
Yeah, I did. I'll tell you this. That's great. Like what they're going through. That's the ultimate Middle East experience.
Oh,
like everybody was talking about. I remember when I went to birthright. They always talk about how birthright's like a propaganda-driven whatever.
Yeah.
All right, fine. That shit is not propaganda at all. That shit is real.
Yeah.
You are stuck in a fucking country and you can't fucking leave.
That birthright is the argument against birthright is always crazy to me because people act like it surprises them. Where the argument is you go on a trip and then they surprise you with it being Zionist propaganda or whatever. Everyone knows what the deal is going on to it.
Yeah.
There has not been a single person that has ever gone on a birthright trip that thought, time to hear the Israel and Palestine side of this.
Right.
It is the government's flag is on all this shit. It is such a stupid argument to kind of compare it to like some brainwashy propaganda thing, as if it's like secret covert, operation that is happening. We all know.
There's also opportunities to ask questions about these issues. There have been a few times when I remember going there, and there's literally like a historical day where there would be people that would showcase their views based on Israel, and he would literally ask, "Is like, if you have opposing views, please tell me, and I'll ask you." And there were debates, and there was all that stuff. But
what do they debate about? What's like the average like kid who is?
Well, I was there when I think it was there when I was in college, which is almost 10 years ago. 8 years ago, something like that.
You look like you just graduated, by the way.
Yeah,
great skincare routine.
I appreciate it. I've been told. I haven't been told that all the time. But yeah, they asked the stereotypical where the guy was like, well, it's very hard to like detach Judaism with Zionism and stuff like that. And then there was a person that asked, well, like, this kind of counteracts with how the Palestinians are being treated and stuff like that. And that's a fair thing to ask, especially at that time when people were like, well, this is a question that we have. And the guy just basically said, well, this is a very, this issue and all this other I don't remember exactly. It was almost 10 years ago. But he was open to it. And also, if you already know about this, why the fuck did you take the trip? Like, if you have this question in your head, that means that you didn't care enough to not take this free trip.
Totally.
If you really cared, don't go. And go to the places you want to go to. If you are a pro-Palestine person, if you're pro any of this, go to places that have that same viewpoint. Don't take advantage of this free trip. Let another person go. And get fucking propagandized. Yes. Let them do it. No,
propaganded forward. But no, you're 100% right. Everyone knows. I think it's like a made-up argument. Like I would love to meet. You often hear the argument against it as if there's like some like pile of evidence that they've just been.
What's their argument? I don't really talk to many like. I think after October, I have kind of disassociated from people that hate Jews, so I don't really hear the arguments against. But what is the?
Is that easy in Brooklyn?
No, it's not. No, it's not at all. You just kind of fucking blinders just walking.
How'd you? I mean, like I've like a little bit removed myself partially from the Brooklyn scene, just because I don't
comedy.
Yeah.
I moved there not too long ago, so I lived in Queens. And I moved in with my girlfriend, so I was never part of the. Oh, I'll tell you a story. I think I told you this. I was actually on October 2023. I was in London, so I didn't know what was going on here. It was London, so all I see is pro-Palestine stuff. There's not that many Jews in England.
Yeah.
And I came back
it's
here.
Just Harry Potter.
It's just Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. That's it.
Yeah.
So I came here. I was booked on a bar show in Brooklyn. And I thought, in my opinion, I'm like, okay, this is America. This is an equal thing. So maybe I can talk about my opinions on it. I'm at a bar show in Brooklyn. Everybody's going anti-Zionist. I'll be like, all right, so it's my turn to talk about my viewpoint. And if you guys disagree, we can talk after.
And it went well.
Some of the jokes did go well, actually, but it was a lot of tension. And I'm like, yeah, this is what it is. Afterwards, I was expecting arguments. I was expecting, some kind of confrontation. No confrontation. This is the Brooklyn way. Passive aggression. I'm talking about white Brooklyn comics.
Yeah.
Passive aggression, condescension, detachment, and it just shows a lot about. We were talking about how immature comics are. It's like this is another point of that. It's like you all talk about how liberal you are with open ideas, but then once you hear an idea that you don't agree with, you not only do you not confront that or kind of be challenged by that, you run away from it, which is the exact opposite of being progressive or liberal or any of this stuff.
And there's an interesting thing that has been happening.
Oh, sorry. I should add, I am an immigrant. I am a Bukharian Jew, and I don't fit into your mindset of white American Jew. We are the oppressors. We are this. Like, I'm a refugee. Like, I have no money to my name to this day. I'm like, I wish all these stereotypes were true, because then I can fucking
ball out.
I can ball out, and
Zionist out.
Yeah, but it's like when you have something that's why I was talking to another person about this. Is that's why like they're very selective about the people that they choose in mainstream or in certain parts of media about who represents Israel when they talk about it, and it's usually an American white Jew. It's never been a Mizrahi Jew, Sephardic, Bukharian, any black, Yeah. That's why I like kind of social media, because it kind of makes them kind of like build their own ecosystem.
Totally. And they've only had to No, but they only have to go against, like, they've decided who their enemies are, basically, and decided what the demographic of that enemy is.
Yes.
And it's not really based in anything. Like, it is like the idea that Jews don't belong in Israel, it's just crazy, because everyone belongs there. Number one. Number two, our shit's everywhere. Like, our shit has been there for thousands and thousands. And, I'm not saying that gives us a right to do anything and to police the region, but this idea that we don't belong there and then being like, well, it's just Anglo, it's the Polish people that had moved back there.
There's more Mizrahi. There's like, what is it, 40% Mizrahi? Like, they all look like me.
Yeah.
A lot
Terrorists.
of them look like me.
They all look like they could be taking over a United Airlines
Ayatollah.
flight. Yeah.
They all look. Young
Ayatollah on CBS.
Yeah.
But there is an interesting thing that's happened in the comedy community I've noticed over the past couple of years, and that is that for a very long time, the right-wing community. Not me. I'm not saying I am a right wing, but like there was the cancel culture pushed out right wing comedians or just right wing everyone, right? It pushed everyone out, right? The only way for that group and that subset of people to like exist was to have the conversations with the very few people that were willing to go. That were willing to like have the conversation. That like there was not a lot of people on the left that were willing to go and like talk to someone on the right or something like that. And I'm not saying this is not me. Like this is just I'm saying that there was a general idea. We are now at a point where the right had and like the moderate right and all that they for years and years and years have had experience talking to the left because they had to. Yeah. They had to go on there and they had to try to because that was where the eyes and the whatever. Now we are at a point where the moderate right and like the centrist left or whatever have more exposure, more eyes, more power, have a history of knowing how to talk to the left, and the left can't comprehend how to talk to the right because they have not been forced to yet. Yeah. Trump winning the second time was the first time that you had people like Pod Save America considering going on an Andrew Schultz podcast or name another like liberal institution or whatever that has been forced to kind of like talk. You're seeing more people on the left go on to Fox News. You're seeing, and it's the first time that they've ever had to do that. And they're also having now to reckon with a fact that they lost most of the country and a lot of the education behind this stuff doesn't help. Like the tactics, the scare tactics, the riot tactics and stuff like that, it doesn't like poll well at all. No. Democrats hate it when this shit pops off. Actual Democrats who have an actual, shot at taking government seats and trying to like, trying to become a senator or trying to become a congressman, trying to like maybe make a presidential run, Gavin Newsom or whoever, they hate it when this shit pops off because it makes their job harder because they now have to speak for that side of it. On the reverse side of it, on the right wing, it is now understood a lot more how like the crazies are the moderate right and the centrist left have like separated themselves from like the crazies in a way that the left has not done yet. So that's another bridge that they still have to like overcome. So it's more things just like from a comedy standpoint. It's why when you go to a show in Brooklyn, you can't say, you know, what you say. You can't be like, oh, here's the Zionist perspective or whatever, because you know that they, instead of engaging in that and having conversation with that, it is easier to just not have it and to just ignore it, because that has been the tactic the entire time, and it worked for years and years and years and years, and now it is not working, and they don't really know how to respond to that.
Dude, I'm seeing fucking pictures, advertisements of communism in Bed-Stuy. And
Crazy.
They're like, are you a communist? And there's a picture of Karl Marx.
Yeah.
If my mom saw that, I remember, I'm not going to name names, but I saw a comic. I was telling you this. He just went up and said, this is his first line. Yeah. So I'm a Marxist. If my mom was there, she would fucking bolt at this guy and say, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you don't, they have a very convenient way of detaching the history of what they're saying towards like what is now in terms of like socialism and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't, and I'm more like, I have family that went through all that stuff. Rather than listen to someone that's a direct result of that, and because of socialism and communism, that's why I'm here, they don't want to listen to it. And I even thought in my head where I'm like, oh, this is how people become extremists.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
This is like, if I was dumber, I'm not saying I'm smart, but if I was dumber, I would be like, you know, very vengeful and petty, and I would be like, yeah, let me just go even more to the people that accept me. Yeah. And it's not a good look on their part, but at the same time, this is why I'm thankful of social media, because then you can just build your own thing.
Totally.
Imagine if this was like 10, 20 years ago, where it's like you wouldn't get booked, you wouldn't be this, and then you're done. You're done. Yeah.
But it's also given me the ability to do this stuff. Yeah. I have a big fuck everybody, you know, mentality on all this stuff. And that's the only way to like, it's the only way I can mentally get through any of this, because both sides, like, they represent like stuff that like I just like despise, you know, like absolutely, like it makes me like ill, you know, associating with like parts. I mean, we can even have the conversation about like Zionism. Like the term Zionism has been, whether Zionism is right or wrong, the use of the term Zionist,
it's Jew. It's
is
a synonym
exactly,
for Jew.
And the fact that it's not recognized as a full-on slur when it's being used by people to discount Jews is crazy. Like, if there was terminology that was that other, you know, religious, if there was, it's like the N-word, you know what I mean? Like, it is like,
well, there will be
I take that back actually completely. In that it's cool, in that Zionism is cool. That's what I mean. No, but I'm saying, like, it's a clear that whether no matter what the meaning of Zionism,
because the N-word isn't a coded word.
Yes,
Zionism is a coded word.
Yes, you're 100% right.
That's what.
It is. The term of it has been used in such a way where no matter what you think about the concept, it's irrelevant, because if at, you know, rallies and stuff like that, you're just throwing it around loosely, and we know 90% of the time, if you're talking about a Zionist, you're not talking about an extremist Christian organization. No one's going to the Westboro Baptist, no one's going to like any church and yelling at a bunch of, you know, Zionists over there. It's always Jewish institutions. And it's crazy, the blindness that, you know, I've seen, and it's made me not want to go to like parts of that. I remember that there was a show that there were people had been saying like shitty things about me after the show in a comedy show
in Brooklyn.
Of course it was the Brooklyn comedy crowd. It was a Brooklyn comedy. Not because I said it. I don't talk about politics on stage. I just mentioned my sister lives in Israel.
It's too much.
That was, and
it's too much,
when
man.
I brought up the joke afterwards, when I heard that I wasn't booked on another show because of this.
Fuck 'em.
And when I spoke to them, I was like, the joke is about my mom. Like, it was a mom joke, essentially, where I just mentioned it. And the reason why I had been banned from this other show, and why people on some group chat were like saying like some absolutely like insane, fully anti-Semitic bullshit about me, was because I had acknowledged that Israel existed by saying that my sister lived there. And that is the problem here, where a lot of like the left-wing protesters, they don't want like a nuanced answer to this because they haven't had to study the topic. In their minds, they think that just getting rid of Israel is the answer, versus finding some sort of like midway where, you know, Palestinians and Israelis, obviously that's like the loftiest of goals, and it's the most complicated of goals, but it's just not acknowledging that there is like the base thing of a country, and that the country has a name was enough to get you labeled a certain thing.
Yeah.
And this is the thing when we talk about not having ever seen like how anti-Semitism rises and not seeing like how like the social tide turns. We all saw it the past couple of months. Like, totally, if things went one or two directions in one way or the other, we would have seen a completely different outcome than where we're at now.
Right.
There's a reality where synagogues are being targeted daily. What if a bunch of drones, people start attaching explosives to drones and dropping them on locations and stuff like that.
Yeah, I went to a yeshiva in New York City, and there would always be like jokes about how much security there was in these things. And at the time I was like 5th grade. I was like, I don't understand. And I remember I visited one time and they made new doors. Basically, I think bomb-proof, bulletproof doors. And I was like, what's going on? And then now you kind of understand more.
Totally. I always thought it was an overreaction.
So
I always thought it was
time, yeah, because then you're in New York City. When you start traveling, you don't realize how less, like, there's not that many of us.
Yeah, no, totally, yeah.
Yeah, so when I started traveling for comedy, it's like, even if you just, not only do they say Bukharian Jew, they don't even know what the fuck that is. Yeah. They say Jew, we've never met, we've never met you before, we never met people like you before, and then there's conspiracy theories and all this other shit. This is why,
by the way, I always bring my guitar with me, because they're like, we haven't ever met a Jew before.
And I'm like,
yeah. I'm like, by the way, we all have cool guitars.
Yeah. The best thing is going to Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember one guy was like, there's not that many Jews. Oh, when I went to Spain, I was like, there's not that many Jews here. And I go, I think you should ask yourself why. I think maybe you should read a book.
There's no bagel stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. No bagel stores in Germany.
Yeah. In Germany, there were. In Germany, there was a decent.
Were they good?
Yeah.
Bagels were good?
There's a decent amount of Jews there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a decent Jewish population, which
that's why people say that that whole boycott on Volkswagen or whatever.
There's a boycott on Volkswagen.
Yeah, after the Holocaust happened, people wouldn't buy
reparations, no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all even Stevens
So
at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Call the whole thing off. Actually, think about the reparations. A couple of years ago, there was like a big scandal where someone was like stealing the money from the reparation check people, and it was a big controversy because the Germans were like, all right, listen, like, we're doing this to be nice, but like the second that starts costing the taxpayers more than it needs to, when we really got to evaluate.
Who was stealing this?
Some I don't know anything more. Wait, stolen reparation.
That's really fucked up.
Germany, something like that.
Was it a German person?
Germany's stolen colonial.
I
gotta figure. There was a specific. All right, we'll look this up later. All right, we got one more story for you. And then we're gonna go. Okay, so something I actually noticed was a difference in conversation that had been happening with the European countries and Israel over this Iran strike versus Gaza. If you remember, Gaza starts happening even before Israel went into Gaza after October 7th. Immediately, the European nations and a lot of nations have started to like condemn them. The UN had gone against them, and all of them. That being said, for this Iran thing, everyone's been real fucking silent. And if anything, they've been helping us. UK has been helping us. So there was an article that came out, I think this was on JTA, about how countries are on side with Israel, with Iran, but not Gaza. Leaders of the 3 European countries have said Israel's right to self-defense and preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon are paramount. The expressions of support for Israel since it launched attacks on Friday on Iran's nuclear system and weapons. Iran's nuclear weapon systems are especially remarkable because leaders of all 3 countries have been sharply critical of Israel for its conduct on the war with Hamas and in the Gaza Strip. Foreign policy experts attribute the committee on... Comedy? What is this?
Committee.
The committee. Really?
I don't know. I'm just trying to...
C-O-M-I-T-Y? Am I an idiot?
I'm just trying to help.
On Iran, recent UN experts, Iran is closer than ever to nuclear weapons. Another factor in Iran's alliance is Iran's alliance with Russia in the war against Ukraine. Yeah. So France, Europe.
France, that's very surprising.
It was France, it was England, and
Germany.
And Germany, that's right. France, England, Germany are on the sides with Israel on this one. And it's very interesting is that The second that they started to see potential threat from this, they were like, okay, Israel's got it. Israel's got this, which is just very, very telling about that entire region.
Yeah, of course.
They voted. Yeah.
Yeah, they want because it benefits them.
Because everyone knows that it's crazy. Yeah. It's been crazy watching people not come out as I've seen that the social conversation around this is more not pro-Israel, but more like let them do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the few people that I've seen come out in like support of like Iran like standing up for them.
Oh, I'm
like, if the conversation was like, who would you rather have nukes, Israel or Iran?
Right. But the
insanity.
The argument is always what was it? It was like Iran has the right to defend itself. You know, like they were kind of flipping the argument.
Yeah, but Iran has been trying to defend themselves, and it has not been going well.
Yeah,
they suck ass at it. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah,
it has been funny. I feel like the veil of Iran. Iran has always been a target that has been out there, well, we can't get a war with them. We can't get, now we've finally done it. It's interesting seeing like how actually a war with them would go. A lot smoother than I think a lot of us anticipated. This was over and out.
Did you read about the drones that they smuggled in?
The factories they built inside. They were building those weapons inside of Iran.
Months ago. Apparently months ago they were doing this.
Years ago. This preceded this was apparently planned longer out than the Beeper mission.
So there you go. So it's like, and then I remember there was a tactic where they were taking the planes out, and then they were using that as a like you're gonna target the planes, so then we're gonna keep on doing. So it's like, dude, you can't fucking. It's like Mossad's like an X. It's like you can't. You'll never win. No. It's like a vengeful X. Like you can't.
Anytime
nothing good will happen.
You know when women are able to like find anything out about any person?
Yeah.
You can one name on a Hinge profile and just like an age and a location. Right. They got it. They can easily hunt you down. That's Mossad. Yeah. Mossad is a bunch of teenage girls on Hinge that are just trying to figure out who is who.
Right. Yeah. These issues have really shown me how stupid comedians are when it comes to talking about political things. I think there should be like just a rule like in a show just going like or just not the show should just you should always remind yourself you should just tell every comic when they go on the lineup just say on the bottom, remember, you're a clown. You're not smart. If you were smart, you wouldn't be a comedian.
You avoided law school for this.
Yeah,
don't act like you didn't.
Don't act like you know what you're talking about and you're going to have some kind of like war is bad kind of point. And it's like, okay, great. You said that.
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder why the war kept going. You don't have that much power on stage.
You ready for this?
What?
It's exactly why Jerry Seinfeld dated the 17-year-old. How is that for a full circle?
There we go.
That's all that it is. It's all these like Dave Smith. What the fuck does Dave Smith know? Dave Smith was a middling comedian.
He never, I never knew him for his stand-up.
Did not know that he did stand up until I started to see his clips going around, and then I noticed one time it said comedian Dave Smith. That's the only. If you're a comedian who is known for hot takes on Israel,
politics,
and the Doug Murray thing about like, well, you've never been there, you know, like, does that give you like an ability to talk about it? You know, that whole argument or whatever. It's like that. Even that is giving him too much credence,
right?
Because it's not that he like. It's not that the issue isn't that he's never been there. So how does he know? The issue is that he doesn't know because he doesn't know.
Right.
Because he was a comedian until he saw clicks happening, until he saw views happening, and then all of a sudden he became, you know, an expert on the region. Right. He still should have to go. I do believe that you should go and at least like talk to anti-war Israelis in Israel if you're going to be making, you know, your entire thing about that.
I think a lot of people don't. I was talking to a friend of mine about this. I think a lot of people don't understand that there's different views of Zionism, where it's like there's liberal Zionism, right-wing Zionism, all these kinds of things, and a lot of people don't really understand that. I don't know if many people care to because it kind of fucks with their viewpoint of it. And honestly, I don't know, maybe there's a cynic in me. I've kind of given up in trying to educate people because I'm this isn't my fight. And also, I would always have to hear some kind of thing where I'm like, oh, I didn't, like, you say something, and I go like, oh, this is what you believe. And I'm Jesus Christ, now I got to
there was a moment when I was talking to those comedians, and I was like, you know, we're going, like, deeper and deeper about, like, why I am being called, like, a genocidal Zionist or whatever on the group chat. And then it's just because it exists. And once you get to that, there's, like, no...
They don't even
There's
realize.
no argument. We're having a
No.
completely different conversation
Yeah.
with this. No,
Because they
100%.
bring it to this point, but I don't know. You probably seem to have a lot more optimism than I do. I don't know. Maybe
No,
just
they're not
based
going to learn. No, cooler heads will prevail and they'll be voted out.
Oh,
I
yeah.
dead serious. One, I'll say this bluntly.
I'm gay. No,
As a gay man, how dare they? As a gay man in June, how dare
Yeah.
they call me a genocidal Zionist?
Yeah.
The levels of success of people that hate me is not exact. I'm not exactly using them to climb the ladder, is what I would say.
Right.
It's never from anyone that has a platform that was booking me before.
Yeah,
it's never anyone that has any real say in my career.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
at maybe one point it was like, well, bar show, but like at most
Bar
I'm
shows are not.
truly at most I'm sacrificing bar show bookings and nothing else.
Nobody really. And I noticed this other thing is like the comedians that this happened with Trump too. The comedians that harp onto political things are always the not funny comedians. They view that as their thing because then they know that if they keep on making these clicks, then somehow I think in the back of their head they'll be like, well, at least I'll get the numbers, and then people will start booking me.
Yeah.
And but the thing is that still doesn't make you funny.
No, totally
so
not.
you will be at the same level of funny no matter what.
And then they're making the same joke over and over. You're hearing the same joke. You're hearing the same
Then they
take.
do their version of clap towards
Totally.
Israel is bad, and you're like, wow, this is like this hasn't been said in the last 10, 20 years.
It's
you
Hannah
know?
Gadsby,
Yeah,
a Zionist.
right.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
Natan.
yeah, man.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This was
man.
a
It
great
fun.
conversation
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there. Where can people find you? You got any shows coming up? What's going on?
Yeah, I do a work in progress show once a month where I'm working on a new show. It's about the Middle East as well. That's part of it, but I'm not doing like the whole like, hey, this is my take. It's just, like, just a part of it, but it's a new show and it's in Astoria, first Sunday of every month, and on my social media.
Where's
my
that?
name,
Where's that
NATAN BADALOV. What?
Where's the show?
Oh, Toodles in French in Astoria.
Ooh.
It's like a wine bar. It won Best New Restaurant.
Hey,
Yeah.
look at
And
that.
There's a back room that they let me do my filth in the back.
How big's that venue?
It's not that big, but it's all right.
I like that. Maybe I'll look
Yeah,
at Toodles and
It's like
Filth.
20 seats.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
That's all
20
you need.
people. My ideas, just throw them out there.
A little wine,
Yeah.
a little conversation. Never
Yeah.
hurt anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
My July Israel run, not looking like that's gonna be happening. I think we're gonna be doing an apartment show in New York though at the end of the month. So stay tuned for that. And until next week, I'll see you later. Barstool.